Hello, good morning, and welcome to Now Streaming Sports, reaching you live from the Advent Cable Network Nigeria here in the capital city of Abuja. We're still here in the studio, and Chukwe Bukayo, anchor for this segment of the show. And I also have here in the studio with me my co-anchor for today, Mr. Godwin Ujiri. Mr. Godwin, welcome to the Sports
Thank you so much, Ebuka. It's always nice being on this segment. Because
all right, so here on set is with us Mr. Raphael Oja Okomo Rafiki. He is a sports commentator. Mr. Raphael, good morning and welcome to Sport.
Morning once again. We have come to the session that gives us joy. Joy is here. It's not coming up. Joy is here.
All right, thank you. And also joining us virtually is Dr. Edesiri Izu. He is a sports commentator. Dr. Edesiri, good morning and welcome to the sports segment of Now Streaming.
Good morning, my friend. And like someone said, gives us joy, not as sweet us, it pays
All right. All right, thank you, Dr. Desiree. We will also have Prince Kelechi equally joining us virtually on today's show. Prince Kelechi, if you're there, say something to us. Good morning. All right, thank you. He will be joining us later. But viewers, remember to be part of this segment of the sports discussions that we'll be having here this morning by calling the number showing on your screen, or equally sending a comment via various social media handle. So quickly, let's dive into the world of sports as is the aspect that gives us a moment of joy, a moment of laughter, a moment of freedom, a moment of liberty in our difficulties and challenging world. Let's start with the headlines from the Punch Sports Extra.
all right, thank you so much, Ebuka. I quite agree with all of your assertion because given all what we're facing as a nation, there's a time, and this thing called sport brings everyone together.
So that's the opposition party and leading party.
All right, we will be going straight into the Punch Sport Extra this morning, and we have a whole lot of leading and catchy story there. But leading there, we have a defense dilemma. Then we have the kicker there that says how Chile can build formidable backline for Eagles World Cup qualifier. And then, and just above the Punch Sport Extra masthead, we are having Bros backs Nigeria to bounce back in World Cups qualifier. This can be seen on page 6. And also on page 7, we have United in pole position to land Osime. This can be seen on page 7. And then on pages 2, we have so much happening in the boxing world. And we hear this having to say Saudi boxing boss to tempt Fury for Joshua clash. And also on pages 5, we have Chelsea ponder Ramsdale move. And then on pages 4, we have Slots get 2 match ban, fined €70,000. And also on pages 4, we have Casemiro set for Old Trafford stay. And still on pages 4, we have Salah drops fresh Anfield exit hints. And on the side of the Punch Sport Extra, we have Red make Lukman contact as Salah replacement. Reds make Lukman contact as Salah replacement. And then also last on this, we have Stones out for weeks, and then Apochi plead with boxing return. All this story can be seen on both pages 4 and pages 2 of the Punch Sport Extra for this morning. All right, Ebuka, a whole lot to also look at, and I love the fact that the Punch Sport Extra this morning is capturing stories round about the world of sport.
All right, so let's start with the headline of the Punch Sports Extra, where it talks about defense dilemma. Are we still in that dilemma, or have we been saved from it? We see we have the likes of Tross Ekon, we have Aina and Balogu and the rest in our defense line. Do we still have? Should we still be worried? Are we worried?
I think we're not we've not fixed that totally. If we want to be truthful to ourselves, we've not fixed it totally. Yes, Bassi might be doing well at Fulham at the moment. Olaino in his best form at the moment.
Nottingham.
I can't say for most of our players who play the right back position. Truste Kong also, Balogun, is will be coming back after a long spell away from the national team, and what have you. So, and also what's his name, Nda in Pirates, will also be coming back after a long spell out due to injury. So I wouldn't say totally that we've been able to fix that aspect of our game. And also, mind you, just recently, Dele Bashir was injured in their last game, the last you played. So these are the things that we're beginning to look at. Even though we have Rafael Onyedika, who is doing very well with Club Brugge in Belgium, but these are the things we still need to look at. If you look at our last games that we played, especially against Rwanda that we lost at home, and the other games that we have played, you want to say that a lot of work needs to be done with our backline. We've not been able to get a perfect pairing. Forget whatever happened at the Africa Cup of Nations. Now we're looking at those that we have on ground, games we have on ground, especially the World Cup qualifiers. So I don't think we have everything set in stone right now, if we are being truthful to ourselves.
Okay, just to ask Mr. Raf, because we're all looking at the headline and it says defense dilemma, just as my uncle have raised here. But looking at the game of football, it's not just defense, which you've rightly played.
Yeah.
Now, tactically, do you think we even have the forward to deliver even when our defense is strong?
For now, we can't speak of the structure of the team at the moment because we've not played with this new manager, Eric Shell. He's going to be, I think, during this FIFA break, when they play their games, that's when we'll know what we're up against, if he's up to the task or not. But one thing I can say for sure, because I haven't watched Manchester City play over time. Okay. I haven't watched Barcelona play over. The fact, I think that Barcelona is a perfect example. There was a period where Barcelona could beat everybody that they came across. But if you look at Barcelona's backline, there's nothing to write home about. But where was Barcelona doing their job? In the midfield. You will check your possession and see that Barcelona has almost 80%, 70% of the possession, which means you don't even get the opportunity to see their backline.
Okay.
Do you understand me? Even their goalkeeper then wasn't one of the best. Victor Valdes wasn't one of the best in what's it called? I think Guardiola took that same mentality to City, and we know what City is today. Do you understand me? They have one of the best attacking line. They have one of the best midfield. But when you begin to get closer to the defense line, that's when you know that everything is not all perfect. So, but for Eric Shell, we cannot tell what structure, what formation, what tactics the team is going to be playing now until we see maybe a friendly game, a game or two, and we begin to tell this is where this man wants to go to. For Pesero, we knew Pesero was more of being on the defensive, catching the opponents on counter attack. For Finidi, we didn't know what he was trying to do, and whoever it is that was then Eguavon. For Eguavon, we've never really understood. Eguavon always comes to salvage and help the situation whenever maybe a coach is out or what have you. So, but for Eric Shaw, we want to see what we are moving on from Pesero, Finidi, and then Eric Shaw to know what the team structure is going to be like.
All right. So let's hear from you, Dr. Edesiri. What do you think about defense? What's the dilemma we're facing with our defense? And just like the Punch Sports Extra headline says, how Chile can build formidable backline for Eagles World Cup qualifiers. How do you think Chile can get us a good defense that will hold us through to the World Cup?
I would like to align and build on what Ralph rightly said. There's an adage in football that attack is the best form of defense. And in fact, while the goalkeeper is the last line of defense, the attack is actually the first line of defense. And if you notice, Aguero was scoring so much. But at the time, Guardiola was benching him in Man City before he left. And that was because it was assumed he wasn't putting significant defensive input into the game. So the defense by name is like center back and the left and right backs, but by function actually starts from attack. And like he said, the very good example he gave for Barcelona, which I wouldn't want to repeat because of time, we need to start defending as a team and not abdicate it for certain individuals. Because once you leave for certain individuals, you are exposing them, particularly our defense now that it's either fragile, shaky, or even aging. Trustekong is shaky, is now in his mid-30s. Same thing with Leon Balogun that we've not heard from. Kenneth, Awuzim, and the rest of them, they are also aging, and they're not. Of all our defenders, only Bassi is really commanding a first team shirt along with Ola, in a reputable club. The rest are playing in some funny places in Greece or some, you know what I mean.
Saudi Arabia.
So that's the more reason why we need to start defending as a team. It's a compact unit. And like the example that Raf gave, if you don't have the ball, you can't score me, which is what Barcelona were doing then. Though he forgot to add the ref, that Barca was also using that. But the philosophy, the idea is if you don't have the ball, you can't have the ball to score me. So how many games have Super Eagles played where we have, let's say, 60% possession? How many games have we played where we're able to string 10 consecutive passes without it being interrupted, either home or away? So once you are not with the ball, you are going to constantly be under attack. You are going to constantly be. So we need to, apart from having strong defensive personnel, we need to start defending as a team right from the front line, which is what I like to see men from. But the wingers need to also start doing better. And then learn to retain the ball, because if your opponent does not have, they cannot harm you when they don't have the ball. You understand my point? Exactly. So then we need to also start improving our search. Now I'm hearing they want to go and beg Tosin and Daraboye to come and somehow cross over to Nigeria and play for us, which is what we've been doing consistently for the past few years. But it gets to a point, like I said in my last appearance on this show, we need to start looking inwards, for God's sake. We can't keep relying on England and all those foreign countries that don't use our players, or Germany. There's one Kelvin, something that was supposed to play for Germany. I'm trying to remember his name.
Kelvin
made
Akpoguma.
2 appearances for us. Thank you, Kevin Akpoguma and others. We can't keep relying on others to bring talents for us, and then by the time the country they really want does not want them to not come and play for us. Just like people who feel jam, first choice, second choice, technically third choice. So maybe after Uniben doesn't allow them to now go to maybe our Chipoli. They are going there with not their full mind, but be like school. So by the time they are coming over to us, their full mind is not with us. So by the time you have somebody dreamt of playing for the Super Eagles right from his childhood, or you groomed him, you gave him that opportunity to grow, he owes you, and so you will see how he fights for you. So compare what Osimhen is doing for us when it's on the pitch with what the others who came from abroad are doing. They don't have time for stress. You understand my point? So I think we need to do better than relying on the ones that other countries either rejected or not deemed good enough for their own standard to build our team. We need to improve our tactics. We need to improve possession. We are playing Lesotho and we can't beat Lesotho 5-0. Then why are we giant of Africa? Because we can't retain the ball. We don't have tactics. It's just our teams are predictable. You can predict our starting lineup. You can predict our formation. You can predict our shape. You can predict everything about us. And so once you can predict it, they will prepare for you. And now that we have a very weak goalkeeper, or a weak goalkeeper, in which we discussed in our last appearance, it's even more imperative that we start dealing with these defensive issues right now. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Doctor. Let's now go to you, Prince Kelechi, and we'll now take another headline story where we have the story on NFF names or decorates 30 referees for 2025 FIFA competitions, comparing it to the other headlines that says CAF Champions League and CC. It says Nigerian referees snubbed again for a light cause. So let's now come to you, because Prince Kelechi is on the show this morning. Prince Kelechi is a professional a referee and also a sports analyst. So let's hear your view, let's hear your comments on the headlines concerning the 30 referees which were decorated recently by the NFF president, Mr. Alhaji Ibrahim Musa Gasau. And then let's talk about the CAF Champions League, where we were told that Nigerian referees were snubbed from the list of referees that has been listed for that competition. Let's hear from you, Mr. Prince Kelechi.
Once again for having me.
Thank you.
And let me start by saying congratulations to the FIFA badge referees. It will also be good for us to note that the 30 referees comprises of football, futsal, and beach football. It's not just strictly football.
Yeah.
We also have stand therapies, etc. So once again, congratulations to them. And then I'm coming to the continental showpiece, whereby no Nigerian referee was listed. Well, truth is, we have good referees in Nigeria. When I mean good, I mean we have credible referees in Nigeria. But certainly, we should know that it's not everybody that is going to be picked at the same time. Okay, everyone has his or her own time to function. So if no Nigerian referee is picked for the continental, it's understandable. You also agree with me that the qualifiers that it's going to be played, the women folks, the women FIFA referees, you agree with me that our 4 Nigerian referees were picked to handle a match. That's to show you how credible Nigeria have in terms of referees. So it's all about time. Certainly, it's all about time. Nigerian referees might not be picked now. Does not mean will not be picked next time. So let's give it time and see. I trust we're going to see more Nigerian referees in the continent. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Prince Kelechi, for your comment. Now let's come back here in the studio. I still have with me Mr. Raphael Ojaokomo here in the studio. He's a social and sports commentator. Mr. Raphael, let me hear your view concerning the snubbing of Nigerian referees from participating at the CAF Champions League levels.
I know it was nice to hear Prince say referees are very good. You know, they say monkey no fine.
Mama like
but mama like I don't know. I have not been following the Nigerian Professional League recently. Back to back, let me put it that way. But I know there was one that made the headline one time, and it was as a result of a call for penalty. In fact, 2 in one particular game. I can't remember the game. And I watched the clip and I asked myself, how is this a penalty? How did we get to this point? I don't know. Prince works with them. Prince knows them. But I want to believe that if they are good enough, as he rightfully said, they should be getting a nod from, from CAF, from FIFA. The last AFCON that was played, we know how the world commended the refereeing in Africa and even asked those in England and some European countries to come and learn, because we didn't have one single issue, even with VAR, in the CAF competition, and it went all smooth. So, but then again, the question you want to ask is, what is it that we are doing in the home front to see that our own referees feature in this game, both internationally, in CAF level, and internationally in the world at large? Because you really need to put yourself out, and if you've been doing well at home, know how your work will speak for you. Do you understand me? Now CAF is taking some referees for training, and Nigerian referees, not even one.
Not even one.
Do you understand
and
me?
The president is here decorating 30.
Do you understand? If they are as good as Prince says they are, I think we should be getting at least
one person
or 2 persons
even
going
if
for
it's
this
not
training.
The main referee, assistant referee, or
so
any other.
what parameters was used to pick these referees that are going for this training? Because if it comes to say in the future we believe that they will be picked, are we saying that between now and that time they would have done something good? Because he already said they are good, and yet they are not making the cut. So what else do we need to do for them to get to that stage for CAF to see them and say, okay, these ones are good to go? Do you understand me? That's what still brings me back to what I've always complained about. This the home team must win syndrome in our local league. If you have a good referee in the middle, if the home team plays bad, you don't get a result. But a situation whereby the own team is playing and the referee is also influencing the results doesn't make any sense at all. That's why when they go to the international competition, they don't do well. You will see that all their away games they lose, and some of these northern teams come here and still beat us again at home. That's because the referees that are handling these tournaments are not Nigerian referees. They are referees from other nations, and this team, when they play well, they get good results. So I want to believe that a lot of things are being done to see that our referees are put in good light out there, so that they begin to make, from the Conference League in Africa to the CAF Champions League to the Nations Cup, before we now start talking about going to the international stage.
All right, so looking, Michael and Co, before I come to you, I'm just looking at the list of referees, the names of the list of the. Before I come to you, Prince Kelechi, I'm just looking at the list of referees that were decorated by the NFF president, and just like we've been complaining at the national level, at the political level, the lopsidedness of the whole thing. And I don't want to say anything, but just considering the list, and we can see, I'm noticing, I'm feeling like there's kind of
there's no federal character.
Yes, exactly. on the list of referees, is it that is only one section of or one region of the entire federation?
You see, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. But again, I don't. If you have all of them from one region being very good, I don't mind. It's not about covering, or there was a time that we tried to do this federal character with the Super Eagles when we were playing the 2006 World Cup qualifiers, and then somebody said we've played in Lagos, we've played in Abuja, we've not played in Kano. And that was where we lost that ticket. We didn't go to that World Cup. Do you understand me? There was no point carrying our teams up and down because you want to make sure that these people in this region watch the game. Is that how in England they play only in one stadium, in Wembley? That's where they play all their games. Why don't they carry it to all the pitches in England? Because they want everybody to see the team. Do you understand me? Now coming to the referees, I don't know. I've not seen the list. I don't know the region that is being covered. I don't need to even see it. But if we have these people from that region that are credible and are doing well, why not? But if not, why do you have just one region covered? I know the funny part again, you just decorate them and do what you want to do. At the end of the day, we'll still be local champions. We are going nowhere. And then CAF will just keep ignoring us because we're not a serious country.
Well, I'm looking at it. I want to think that probably that's the reason why CAF is. Maybe one of the reasons.
But nobody will take you serious if you don't take yourself serious.
Exactly. So, Prince Kelechi, you wanted to react to something. So, can we hear you?
Sorry, can I say my
all right, Dr. Let's wait for Kelechi to come in. Yeah, Kelechi.
All right. So I want you to know that these FIFA referees that are being batched are not from one region. Please, let's understand this.
No, I'm not saying. Hello. Please, I'm not saying they're all from one region, but I'm saying that there is. I'm just saying that there's a region that's more persons are appearing from that same region compared to other region. We have six geopolitical zones. We have six geopolitical zones in the federation. Yeah.
Let's understand. Okay. Now the point is we have 36 states and a federal capital, which is making 37.
Yes.
All right. Now all these states are councils. Okay, so it will interest you to know that a particular council can produce more than one FIFA referee. It is acceptable. For instance, you go to Lagos, you have more than one FIFA referee. Okay, if you go to the northern part, also you have the state councils that produce FIFA referees. So it's not really a matter of a region kind of producing. It's all about what we see in you. And another thing also you need to understand is from those that are being invited by CAF for the training, you have one Nigerian there. So please, you need to make the research and check. I think there's an assistant referee. Okay. Now also you agree with me that from those that are being banned, some persons, their duration of being FIFA referees, it has gotten to the limit of retirement. And when they retire, others come into play. So if you check the badging list as well, the 30% will be badged, you know that some persons are being retired while others come into play. So it's not all about one region or not one region. And Mr. Raphael, just to correct an impression as well, I don't think England play all their matches in Wembley. Sometimes they get to move it around. because their next international friendly, I think that should be against Senegal, is going to be played in Nottingham Forest Stadium. So I don't think it's all about one region or playing their matches in one stadium. Thank you.
Yeah. Dr. Jisiri, you wanted to say something, please. Let's quickly on this issue.
I'll make it quick. For me, as a physician, I look at trends and patterns. I understand Kelechi is trying to defend constituency, but we also have to look beyond parochial sentiments and tell ourselves the truth. If this was a one-off, we can say, okay, fine, some good ones have retired, some have died, so whatever it is. But there is a pattern. When was the last time a Nigerian center referee officiated at African Nations?
Even Champions League.
Or no, I'm breaking at the continental level. CAF Champions League, CAF Confederation Cup. When was the last time? So let's not treat this as an isolated event and start manufacturing excuses. Now, I'm not saying it's out of place for us not to be at this tournament. For example, there was no English referee at the last, I think, World Cup and even Europe, if I'm not mistaken. But the point is, if England does not have any referee at 2-3 nations Euros or World Cup, I can tell you for free, the head of the referee will be sacked, because by then it has become an abnormality. It has become a disease, it has become a problem that needs significant action. So, but Nigeria has not been at that stage for years. These are continental level, though, not going to FIFA issues. So, there are African referees at the World Cup. So it's not a bias in race or ethnic bias. It's a capacity, it's a competence thing. So what I'm trying to say is, let us not look at it as an isolated event that, okay, not go this one and so what. No, it's a trend. It shows that the capacity gap. I don't know if Kelechi is aware, but the NFF suspended 2 referees last month for impersonation. The referee was supposed to go and referee a game. He could not go in the local national league, not the Premier League. And he could not go. He sent someone to referee on his behalf. And
Sorry, can I correct that? Dr. Lisi, can I correct that, please? Can I correct that, please?
You don't want Tipex.
Yes, there was an impersonation. But you also agree with me that that same referee's name appeared in 2 different matches. One in the Premier League and the other one in the NLO.
But why is it?
Yes, there was an impersonation, but he went for one and then sent his friend for another. So let's understand this perspective.
So I'm not still getting the point. If you are a lecturer
and
you are
place of the other referee to bring somebody else.
If you are to teach in 2 classes and your timetable is classroom, you can go back to the person who appointed you and say, sorry, I have another class. Conflicting match. So reassign.
Certainly, yes.
So
Kelechi, please wait. Let Dr. Lisi
argument. So
okay, go ahead.
You don't have sinister motives. You will go back to the, because there's issue of allowance, there's issue of the and the rest. So if you miss out a match, you will not get the allowance. So you know what? So we'll go referee from you, we'll share the money. That's exactly what happened. So let's not get it said. And so when you have such character flaws, guys also know these things. They also know these things. So what I'm trying to say is, apologies to Kelechi and the refereeing community, but we must tell ourselves some painful truths. Some painful truths. We can give you a history of the Premier League and refereeing scandal. Is it when Aqua United needed a 13-goal difference to remain in the Premier League, and they somehow won 13-0 some years ago, and they were suspended and relegated? Kelechi can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so the point I'm trying to let us be clear that it is not, to be clear and summarize, it is not unusual that a country does not have a representative at a continental event. But by the time it becomes a pattern, a trend, then it now calls for deeper introspection and not excuse manufacturing. Have you seen some of your colleagues? They are as fat as Nigerian policemen. They are not fit.
I'm not here.
Dr. Lisi, please take it easy.
I didn't attend this show.
I'm not saying all, saying some. So when you have a ref who is panting, you are not even fit enough physically to carry the game. Though they have improved now, they are doing some fitness, they are doing some fitness before we were lump and that. But I'm just saying that we can do better instead of making excuses that some retired, some this, some that. And to the issue of federal character, I think the issue of it's not distributed, it's not out of left or senate. It's a matter of competence. So if all the competence best come from one zone, like he said, because we also know that even in the Premier League, not all the clubs come from the same region. If you look at the Premier League, out of the 20 leagues or clubs or so, there are more clubs from some places. In fact, some states have up to 2 or 3 clubs in the Premier League. So the issue of federal character is, maybe I'm sure it was on the lighter note. But what I'm trying to say is we need to look inward into our training, into our recruitment, into our integrity. Do we have the equipment? Do our reps go for eye tests? Do they have integrity tests? You understand my point? And therefore, the issue of Wembley that was trying to correct, I'll drop with that. Let us understand the context of Kelechi's argument, of Raf's statement. He wasn't saying, yes, there was, up until 2002, England played all their matches at Wembley until the old Wembley was to be demolished and they played the final game there with Germany, which they lost 1-0. Before, they started using other stadiums, including the. So it's not that they must go round. The point he was trying to make was the impact of federal character that made Nigeria lose.
I woke up to get
All right. Thank you, Dr. Desiri. Dr. Desiri has really said a lot of things, and Raphael wants.
He made mention of a game, and I remember it vividly. There's one that Plateau United Feeders produced a mind-boggling 79-0 victory because they needed to qualify for, I think, Nigerian Professional League. They won 79-0. Why? What's it called? Police Machine FC demolished Bayer FC 67-0. Now the question I want to ask yourself is:
was there a referee?
Were there footballers on the pitch when these things happen?
Even a walkover is a 3-0 win.
And I also, yes, walkover is 3-0. And I also want to throw the line of Dr. Edesiri when he mentioned there were times that you won't find English referees in tournaments, because even with the fans who were watching the EPL and were noticing that these referees were as if they didn't go to school or anything, or they don't know what they are doing. And then, as we were complaining, FIFA was seeing it also, and decided to say, at least it's one England referee, I think Graham Paul, that gave a player 3 yellow card in one match. 3 yellow card, I think, was a Mexican footballer. 3 yellow card before I now remember that now after 2 yellow cards they give red card. Do you understand me? And then we had a lot of them that were making silly errors in tournaments, and then they had to step them aside for a bit. It's just recently.
There are some of them who have, because of their passion or love for a certain club, just be issuing red cards.
Do you understand? They start, so they have to step them. Oliver, I think is. I've forgotten his name. Who has become the enemy of EPL clubs recently? Do you understand me? So I understand why Kelechi is on the refereeing side, because he's a professional referee. Do you understand me? But at the same time, when a federation continually snubs you need to look inside to see where the problem comes from. Do you understand me? Like Dr. Desiri said, if you have a clash, your name is here, you go back to the body that has put you there. Maybe they made a mistake, so they can correct it. Do you understand me? It is not you now can now call God and say, I get one match, I won't go referee. I better go there. You go use my name, because it's my name that will be there. They won't scratch it there and then, because even in the records from the federation, it is my name that is still there. So they are the ones that will make that correction and send somebody else entirely to go and officiate the game. Not you sending somebody, because at that point in time, it's impersonation. The person is representing you. So I think we should look inside, look at the referee federation of Nigeria to see what is going wrong. So at some point in time, we begin to show up for CAF competitions first, from the Confederation Cup, the CAF Champions League, before we're not talking of AFCON, because the AFCON is the best of the continent that goes to the AFCON. So show yourself.
There's also a story, well, we won't have time to discuss that now, a story about the African Cup of Nations must be the most disrespected competition in football.
I don't know why you're skipping that. I think we should have discussed that a whole lot. We should have talked about it a whole lot, because it made the news during the course of the week.
Okay. So after the referee, we'll talk about
it. Okay. No, so what I'm trying to say is this: get your house in order. If your house is in order, like I said earlier, if you don't respect yourself, people will not respect you. So when you get your house in order and things are beginning to work fine, it is CAF that will be telling you we need 5 from you, we need 10 referees from you. But when they've looked over time, and you would think they don't watch your games, they have their scouts that come to see the games and know if this person is worthy of notes to come to this level. You can't be local champion forever. There's a reason why the referees that blow finals of World Cup, they don't have 10 heads.
Yeah.
That blow finals of official finals of Champions League, they don't have 10 heads. They are still all referees from some countries that were dragged in. And like what also said, England referees now are beginning to come out again, unlike before that they were totally kicked out because of their poor officiating.
All right, so now let's talk about one of the issues that trended within the course of the week, where there were so many speculation coming from the international world and in the world of soccer, and where a few other persons were lambasting the AFCON. Says it must be the most disrespected competition in the world, and not to miss out that the AFCON has a whole lot of stars trending at the international world, at the FIFA World, EPL. What have you, EPL, Spanish La Liga, Italian Serie A, and what have you. All those persons had performed or came from the African region, and I will now come out and say too many people think it's an inconvenience, inconvenient mid-season distraction for their club's African stars. Why should they bother trying to win a trophy with their own country when FA Cups or Premier League glory is on the line? So, Mr. Rafe, let's talk about this issue. We're not getting the most needed or the much attention or the much attribution that we desire, or that we are entitled, we're deserving from the other international football.
This whole thing emanated from Jamie Carragher, who Mourinho one time lambasted as someone who is not even rated as one of the best 1,000 defenders in EPL or in Europe. Someone who has not won the EPL, who is telling people how to win EPL. Do you understand that? That's an irony. You never win something, but you want to tell somebody how to win it. Do you understand me?
Just like somebody selling a book of say how to make 5 million.
How to be a millionaire.
How to be a millionaire, and the person is not even.
And you're the one selling the book, and you never tear the book, make you open and see how you go to make the money. So, you know, this statement came from when a pundit mentioned Salah being up for Ballon d'Or because of his level of playing at the moment. And you and I know that take away Salah from Liverpool, that team would almost be empty. Do you understand me? Right now, how many players in Europe can you say is doing better than Salah? And then he comes to say
he has about 30 goals,
do you understand?
Assists and 20 goals.
Now you're coming to say in EPL alone he has 25 goals. I think plus or minus maybe 10 assists or more than, if I'm not mistaken. Now you are coming to say if he wins the AFCON and maybe wins the EPL, it doesn't make him a Ballon d'Or contender until maybe he wins the World Cup and what have you. The year Mbappe won the World Cup, rather, did he win the Ballon d'Or? So we've gotten to a point where some pundits needs to be stepped aside because of the disrespect they have for some people. You are even mentioning European clubs with African players. You have forgotten that when the Euro stands to play, in Switzerland alone, we have 3 Nigerians playing for them.
Yeah, exactly. We have Africans.
You have in Germany, you have in England, you have in Spain, and what have you. Take away all those African players from those tournaments and see how ordinary those tournaments will become. And the same African Cup of Nations, when the AFCON was done, you find that people were telling even English referees, European referees, to come to Africa and learn how to officiate from the way the AFCON went. And we know how the viewership was in the last AFCON and how everything played out. But then again, I want to say this. I don't blame him. And I don't blame those who speak like that. First and foremost, this tournament comes in between when the season is at its peak. Do you understand me? If not for this one that you're going to be playing, I think in November or thereabouts, December thereabouts. Usually comes in January, February, when teams are trying to get themselves together to stabilize their team running. And then you find African players telling their feigning injury and telling their coaches or the club that they can't come, they are injured. But you still see that same player playing the next week So when you yourself, I will say it again, I've said it like twice or three times on this show. If you don't respect your nation, nobody will respect your nation. If you don't respect your federation, nobody will respect your federation. Until the African players, I know a lot of them have come out to speak, but a lot of them would have forgotten that they were contributing factors to all these things. That these people are coming out now to say that the AFCON is somewhere. There was a time, I wish we could do it again. If you go to YouTube, you can still find a clip there. There was a time Africa played against Europe. Selected African side played against the selected European side, where the African team was comprised of players from different nations, and the African team won. It was the game ended like 2-1.
All-star game.
Yes, like an all-star game. The game ended 2-1. Do you understand? Nigeria had people like, I think Sunday Olise and Barua. I can't remember the last person in that team. African team won. If we could do that again today, so that you know that if the French team is nothing without African players. In fact, when children of nowadays watch the French team play, they cannot tell if it's a European team playing or an African team playing. So you don't come out. I stopped listening to Carragher and Gary Neville.
Some of them will say, when they look at the players, they'll be like, Daddy, how can you tell me this band is...
You look at the French team.
I say this white band.
You look at the French team. It looks like an African team. And you look at the Moroccan team and Egyptian team, and you're confused, and your child is telling you, Daddy, are you? So I think until we learn to respect ourselves, people will not respect us. And I think people like Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville should be taken away from the spotlight, because they begin to send wrong narratives to people, and a lot of people are listening and watching. And if you don't know yourself enough, somebody will tell you things that you're not, and you'll believe it.
All right. Thank you so much, Raf. And Dr. Idesiri, if you are there, just to bring you into the same line of conversation. Mr. Raf in the studio here, I've looked at it from a whole lot of personalized perspective on how Carragher and the likes of his have seen this Afghan competition, or the players themselves. But I just want to ask, because most times we feel it is because or attributed to comment of people, but do you think that our system, the system we put in place from this side of the divide, do you not see it playing a whole lot of role in the level of disrespect that we get out there? Dr. Desiree. Okay.
Just to view from where Ralph personally deposited, I understand what Carragher was trying to say. I'm coming to your question whether it is well deserved. Yes, it's well deserved. But to first of all, build on what Ralph was saying, he tried to give balance. And what Carragher probably did was that even if Liverpool wins the EPL, his chance of winning Ballon d'Or might not be true because of the international federation it comes from, which to an extent might be true. He didn't choose the right word, okay? He didn't choose the right word, but that's because Carragher is a very intelligent person. If you watch the CBS, there's a CBS show, Champions League. Thierry Henry, who is a Frenchman, had to tell him and Michael Richard the meaning of some English words. So it is not, Carragher is not the person to be using as SIU for brilliance. But what he meant was, even if Salah wins the EPL, if an Mbappe wins that same thing, Mbappe has a higher chance of winning the Ballon d'Or because of where he's coming from. That's what he meant from my own perspective. And he also tried to double down on it and explain, which is also true. You understand my point? Lionel Messi came from Argentina and won the World Cup in 2023. But because of 2022 World Cup, he won 2 Ballon d'Or for the first time. You understand my point? Because in 2023, he also won the Ballon d'Or for what he achieved in 2022 World Cup. So that's what he's trying to say, that somebody can influence decision in terms of attention. But to the issue of the AFCON, let's look at it statistically. AFCON is underrated. Okay. Very underrated. And it's undeservedly underrated. Why? Because if you look at the top 20 FIFA World Cup nations, FIFA ranked nations for January this last month, we have 2 African countries at 14 and 17. That's Morocco and Senegal. That's the highest confederation apart from Europe and South America. Asia has just two, Japan and Iran. Same thing with us in Africa. You understand my point? So it is unfair for us. We just got to the last semi-final of the last World Cup. Morocco did so. We have also got to the quarter-final several times. African countries have won the Olympics multiple times. Nigeria, Cameroon, and others. So we don't deserve. If you look at even almost every European Champions League winning team, there's almost an African always playing a key role. Right, from Chelsea, they had Drogba, Ajax, they had Tunisia, Kanwanko, and the others. So even the Liverpool that is trending now. You understand my point? So it's undeserved, and it's an insult that we Africans have always tried to accommodate. Now, let me give you the statistics. Asia plays their own AFC Cup in the middle of the season. Nobody cups. Son Min-hyung, what's his name, the Tottenham captain, was forced to go to the Asian war as a way of keeping war. Tottenham did not cost. That's their best player at that time. Don't forget, even tonight, I'm not their best player. Because you'll be forced to go for what we call NYSC. For them, they are forced to go for military service. So you have to go there as community service in lieu of military service. And why in the middle of the season? So African countries have brought this disrespect on ourselves. Because imagine what Onana did for Man U last. They brought him on a private jet from Man U on the eve of Cameroon's Nations Cup opener.
Yes.
And as soon as he knocked out, he was taken back by private jet.
Immediately.
So he didn't have time to win the Cameroon national team. And we accepted that. Will Japan accept that? Will Brazil accept that? There's a provision in the FIFA rule that says clubs must release their players 2 weeks to an international engagement. But African countries usually lobby. Sometimes they make it 4 market days to the they will then do that. So is the, like Rasta has always said, is the way we have presented ourselves. By the time we decide to trigger some of these FIFA regulations that if you don't come in 2 weeks, you will not play for your club the next match, which is part of the FIFA rules, then we will do it. But we don't do that because of bribery and because of how we have belittled ourselves. Look at the African Nations Cup. We have 24 nations, 24 solid nations. Go to Copa America. They don't have up to 12. If of late they now made it 16, and they have to borrow countries from other associations. Go and check. Perfect me if I'm wrong.
Yes, you're correct.
So we don't ourselves. Even when they were 12, they were not complete 12 from Copa America, from South America. There's one borrow one from North America, one from.
They invite from Asia now.
I'm talking about when it was even 12. Now that it's 16, it's even worse. So when Mexico got to the semi-final, which they of Copa in North American country, getting to the semi-final of the Copa America, that was not absurd. So the point is, we in terms of talent, we are the best, and that's why I love Mourinho. He doesn't hide his love for African strikers. When he won the World Champions League in 2004 with Porto, Benny McCarthy of Africa was the top striker. He went to Chelsea. There. So let us as Africans learn to put ourselves. We should not be always carrying our bowl, looking like Bambiala, begging. When they want to do World Cup hosting rights, they will come and bribe us. We will vote. Almost every scandal you have heard of FIFA, Africa is always involved. How would they respect you when you're always involved in when they know you have the price? So those are the issues I think we should look at. But to be fair and to state it clearly, we are underrated for how we have placed ourselves and let them deserve. But if you want to look at it objectively, after the World Cup and the Euros and maybe Copa America, AFCON is the next most rated and most difficult to win. And I think Africa should stand up to be counted and not belittle ourselves anymore. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Edesiri. That was quite an interesting,
a passionate one.
A passionate one indeed. It looks as though we are now the root cause of our own problem, and it's quite unfortunate. Because of time, we're going to move or run very, very fast on the show now, and we want to look at all of the last weekend and midweek matches review that we have. Mr. Ralph, I would be calling on you now to do justice to this.
Some major results that we'll be looking at, or that we would want to look at, which if the same man need to cry, the same man need to cry, if that would they cry now, you know. with the whole idea. Next time when you want to invite Dr. Izzy, you should be telling me. There is an helmet in my car so that I'll be wearing it for a show. In fact, I didn't see the poster on time. If I had seen his name on time, I would not carry the helmet. They come from us, You know one thing I've discovered, never count your... there's this proverb that says don't count your
eggs before they hatched.
Everybody kept saying, even as an Arsenal fan, if you win West Ham, if Liverpool lose, blah, 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 blah. I was watching the game Liverpool against Manchester City, and I was watching it with my younger brother, and I said to him, when the game started, Man City was all over the place. And I said they should just remain like this, because the moment they settle down and Liverpool gets up, that's all. And when I said that thing, I don't think it was up to 5 minutes, and then Liverpool got their first goal, and that was it. And you think the Newcastle who gives Arsenal trouble or other teams trouble will get to Liverpool and do the same thing? They still lost against Liverpool. So at the moment, they asked Arteta, are you going to give up on the title race? It's over his dead body. Like you always say, it's not over until it's over. It depends on where you want to pursue and reach. Do you understand me? But the games at the weekend that everybody really, really talked about or looked at, you also want to look at Everton, Manchester United. There was a controversial call for a penalty at the last minute, which would have sank Man U further down. Man City, Liverpool, and then there's a team that is setting a record that nobody's talking about. Southampton has played, I think, 27 games now, 26, and they have only 9 points. And they said that's the worst in the EPL. And I was saying to somebody, this team, they will go back to championship and then come back again. And you're wondering what they're coming back to do. Why not just let people that want to play football come? And then we also want to look at Chelsea.
They're having a bad time. It's not that intentional.
Want to look at... It's intentional, I beg you should go. We should also look at Chelsea, Aston Villa. Chelsea is also struggling at the moment. Now, there's a battle for that top 4 between Manchester City, Chelsea, and Chelsea, Bournemouth, and Newcastle United. Who would believe that at some point in time, Bournemouth, Newcastle, and Chelsea will be fighting it out for the top 4. So those are the major results over the weekend. And of course, how will I forget to mention Arsenal losing to West Ham United at home, and Lewis Kelly being in the front line again. More like youthful exuberance. After getting a first red card that everybody deemed was fraud, and it was called back, and you're doing the same thing all over again. It means you didn't learn from the first time. Probably maybe if they had left that first red card, maybe he would have learned. And what are we talking about today? The gap didn't just move away from 5 points. The gap is almost 13 points now.
13 points now with one outstanding
match. With an outstanding game, I think, for us now. With an outstanding game for us now. But for Liverpool to lose a 13 points, it is not inevitable. It has happened before anyways. But again, if you're wishing for Liverpool to lose points, it means you're winning your games. It's not enough for you to wish for them to. And Liverpool, I think you need to give credit to Dr. Desiri. Are you sure we're not going to hire you for us now? They need to give Liverpool medical team a big thumbs up.
Okay.
Because while every other team was suffering from injuries and fatigue and what have you, I don't think Liverpool has suffered any.
Liverpool has some injuries.
Yes, when the players go on injuries, I don't think it stays up to 2 weeks and they're back. Do you have any Liverpool player who is out of the season?
No, we don't have any Liverpool.
Do you have any Liverpool player who has stayed?
Jota, who is coming in and going and coming in and going out.
He's coming in and going at Abi.
Do you have Konate in it?
Konate is playing back to back.
Gomez
has never been a regular for Liverpool. Gomez has never been a regular for Liverpool, if you look at it very well. So I want to give kudos to the medical team of Liverpool, who has even Gapco, that we thought was out. Before we knew it against Man City, we saw Gapco, who was being subbed in. So I think right now the league is in the taking for Liverpool, unless something else happens, which I strongly believe is almost impossible to happen, losing 13 points as it is right now.
All right. Ebuka.
All right, so Dr. Desiri, let's hear your review. We saw Chelsea winning their match. Was it yesterday? Against
by Southampton. Somebody said something. They say when Chelsea won that game, when they were scoring, the way they were celebrating, it felt as if they've been starved. The way they were celebrating, it felt like they've been starved, and we all know they were playing Southampton.
So we saw the game against Chelsea Southampton, which Rafa had earlier mentioned, has been struggling to keep up at the EPL table, and then we also looked at the match against Nottingham Forest and Arsenal. Let's have your review about the midweek games and games played over last weekend.
Well, first of all, I think if are not good people in that studio, we should have started on for this segment with a moment of silence in honor of the death of Arsenal's presenter. Easy to have home. You put your whole up, and then suddenly it gets dashed. You must commend Raphael for being able to be on the show. Some people make some making even hiding from the public, so it takes a lot of mental fortitude to do. And but it's something that Arsenal fans, if they are sincere with themselves, should be used to by now. And that's why when I was last in this show, if you remember, you can watch the play, I was so confident. Hey, Arsenal is very talking to me. I will never come on the show. I'm saying, I was an Arsenal fan. Let me tell you this now.
Oh, you were an Arsenal fan before?
Until 1998 to 2012.
Wow.
For 2 years. Of trauma.
Trophyless period.
On Arsenal. It's because of what we have experienced. And yet, this is their pattern. Arsenal fans are like motivational speakers that will tell you good. Forget the lion, how to create my God.
Mr. Raf, I think you need the helmet.
please, can we get a helmet for Mr. Raf? Can we get a helmet?
This guy knows I don't get help.
Bulletproof. Let's get a bulletproof vest for Mr. Raphael, please. Alright.
Very their hope and bad habits. And in people that be hosted, where you go? What's the point? Look at Chelsea. They put their hope on by habits. They were only able to win that European Champions League because of some teachers' tactical ability and the defense. They were scoring 1-1. And those are good for knockout competition. Hit and run. Sorry. You know, when it comes to the league, there's no hit and run. That is sustained players. You can't put all your eggs in the basket. Don't forget that Arsenal is in the set market. Before Arsenal came to set piece, there was the platform, Bolton, Everton. People who can score out of 50 goals, quality will be from goal. So during the time when Stoke City had Rory Dillap. Than from both corner kick. Where did you get there? So you must have variation.
That's not good.
Thank you. Well, I think we lost him there. Okay. I was struggling with. Please go on.
Are you saying this?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go on.
Mourinho scored 2 goals against Leicester. That ACNNTV beat. So we have to say, not missing anybody, we're not missing anybody. 2 games now. They know set back, they had to now off short of scoring. They went back at home, they lost. It is last week. They came, Nottingham, they didn't know who next to talk of scoring. So the point I'm making is Arsenal is a team that refuses to learn. What will they come and play the rest and I think they are the ones that get against one. That's what they do. Arsenal fans, a lot of us.
Yeah, please give us a chance, I beg. Please give us a fans chance. Doctor, I think we're struggling with your network over there. So, but why we are so excited with what he has been saying and how the crossfire has been going on against the Arsenal people? let's take Mr. Raphael's prediction for this weekend. We have Nottingham Forest after drawing against Arsenal will be up against Man City on Saturday by 1:30 p.m. West African time, and then Arsenal after drawing also equally drawing against Nottingham Forest will be up against Man United this same weekend on Sunday. So let's have your predictions.
I think Arsenal would not want to go 3 games. Arsenal would want to go 3 games. What's it called? Drawing or losing. Do you understand? After losing against West Ham and drawing against Nottingham Forest, I feel for Manchester United because they are going to get what is coming for them. I understand Dr. Idesi's points. You know, when you begin to block your ears from the cries of the fans of what the team needs, this is what you end up with. No striker, and because Merino scored 2 goals against Leicester, you felt your problem was solved. Now Merino has played 2 games without scoring a single goal. Do you understand me? City against what's it called, Nottingham Forest could go either ways, because I think anyone that wins between the 2 of them goes above the other. As it is right now, we have Liverpool, Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, and Manchester City, who are separated by, I think, a point or 2. So anybody that wins will go above the other person. And City looks rejuvenated at the moment, even though they're not getting the required results. If you check the team very well, you will see what Guardiola is trying to do. You have people like Mamouche now, and the Uzbekistan defender who is getting game time at the moment now. Very young guy who plays very well. They also have Savinho doing well. And what do you have? This other new guy that was bought. So he's trying to build a new team.
3 goals on his debut.
They're trying to build a new team now. Do you understand me? So I think that is going to be another cracker, because Nottingham Forest would not want to drop from that position, and while City want to cement their place in the top 4. So it's going to be a very good one. I cannot place my finger on whether at the end of the day it might end up being a draw. But I also see maybe City coming up tops, but I can't give a scoreline for that.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Raphael. Dr. Idesi, let's get your last word for the show this morning, alongside a couple of predictions for the EPL for this weekend.
Well, thank you so much. Raphael's plan is not work. We have to go and so I don't think it's an FA Cup. Am I correct? If I'm not mistaken? No, what I'm not asking you have become that.
No, it's EPL. It's the EPL.
This Saturday?
Yes, this weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Manchester, Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, Manchester City.
Oh, sorry. This weekend is FA Cup.
Okay.
Next weekend is EPL.
You don't understand. So I think the FA Cup now is leading up to its name, where we see some giant players who have created some really big names. But all the big names still are out. Arsenal, of course, are out. I think Chelsea is also out. So this is the Man City will be the favorite because they are playing Plymouth.
Plymouth won Liverpool. Plymouth defeated Liverpool.
They played performance. They didn't see, but there are some interesting pictures. We have Man United versus Fulham on Sunday. That's an all Premier League game that is not going to be easy. Even the Man part, and they already know now that their home is like a win. They don't have any
home
advantage. Populous. So that's what I would think. But don't also do that. Newcastle are still there. They are playing Brighton. It also been another interesting call for Premier League there. encounter. But this year, FA Cup has lived up to the bill as a giant team competition. Only about 6 or so Premier League clubs are left. And so it's going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to mine one. I know mine will want to football and have into it because the coach knows you have to show working, otherwise you're not backed. Oh.
Dr. Desiree, I guess the Arsenal fans are at it again, trying to truncate your network connectivity. All right, so thank you for being on the show this morning, Dr. Desiree. It's very wonderful time having you on the show today. So I wish to have you much more in subsequent shows, and from henceforth we'll start informing Raphael whenever you're so he could come with helmet or probably a bulletproof vest. All right. Thank you also, Prince Kelechi, for being on the show also today, this morning, trying to defend the Nigerian Football Federation and the Nigerian referees. We see your side. We know where you're hurting at. So thank you for being on the show today. And to Mr. Raphael Ojaokoma, we are so excited to always have you on the show. It's quite an exciting moment having you on the show every now and then. Thank you for joining us on the show. My co-anchor, should I say thank you to you?
It's worth saying.
All right, so thank you, my co-anchor, for being on the show. And to our viewers, there's so much joy, there's so much excitement when it comes to the world of sports, and where the time is never enough to discuss the issues and to have a lot of things happen here in the studio when it comes to the sporting segment on this station, Thursday Sports Edition. So, but we come your way next time. We'll promise you more exciting stories, more fun and happenings in the world of sports. But for now, it's a goodbye from us. See you next edition. Thank you.